Thank you. As it says up there, my name is Niall Gavin. I'm going to be talking today about the language around redundancy and maybe shifting some of that language into a different sphere. I'm going to share a personal story around that and then draw some parallels with learning and development. And my guru is sitting out there, two of them, in fact, your own bloody gurus, has insisted that I do this without reference to my notes. So I'm going to accept the challenge and we'll see how it plays. So off we go, the first Ignite. So this will be my third Ignite talk. The first one I ever did was at CIPD annual conference about 3 years ago. Anybody that was there might remember my paper blizzard as I was throwing notes all over the place, which just reflected a sense of panic as much as anything else. This next slide has, we've started, it's all about practice, rehearse, tweak, tweak, tweak. This next slide has a medical situation in it. So that was me. That was me almost exactly 2 years ago. I was recovering from a triple cardiac bypass operation. A complete out-of-the-blue whammy. I went in a month from chest pains to surgery. And this was me 24 hours later. Good for another 25 years, according to my cardiologist. So, not physically redundant. And I was home 5 days later and told to take 3 to 6 months off work. Fast forward, I was hit with a double whammy. When I was ready to go back to work, I found myself in a protected conversation about redundancy. That's quite a powerful word in itself, isn't it? They're very powerful words, but the protected conversation then became the usual negotiation, legal advice, all the other stuff that goes with that, and then I left the business after exactly 10 years service. I took the view I wasn't made redundant. I took the view that I was taking redundancy. In my absence, my team had stepped up, they'd delivered, they'd innovated, nobody died, so I felt it was time to walk away. So I repositioned myself. And I got to thinking about what that means in terms of learning and development. Is learning and development heading towards redundancy, or are we moving towards repositioning ourselves? And the fact is, the wind of change is blowing through business and it's blowing through learning and development. But it's a warm wind and it's bringing opportunities for us as a profession. Ooh, breathing space. But we need to move fast. We need to move at the speed of business. And we need to be able to think in terms of less process-heavy design, development, delivery, and much more agile working with the business and the knowledge within the business. Because the evidence is there that we need to be thinking about doing it differently. The evidence in the Towards Maturity benchmark reports, the good practice reports, Ross, the evidence is all there. We need to be thinking about doing it differently. Technology is no longer the barrier to learning that it used to be. People are using this stuff in their daily life and they expect to be using it in the workplace. You can see the kind of tools that we're already doing it with. Social media tools like Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, all these kind of tools, people are using them already. And in many ways, that's their expectations. Well, they're learning from each other in that respect. The modern learner no longer needs L&D to provide the route to or the content of their learning. So what are we going to do about it? They're arcing L&D at the moment. So if we're going to remain relevant, if we're going to be a valued business partner that are all about facilitating business performance improvement, then we need to be, as Disraeli said, we need to be thinking in terms of they're our leaders, we should be following them. The good news is L&D is catching up. We've embraced 70-20-10. There's still a place for 10%, which is the formal learning, but we need to be supporting the 20 and the 70% in the workplace itself. To do that, we need to build up our own toolkit but not just digital. We need better facilitation, listening, all those kind of improvement skills, business performance, etc. But beware the magpie syndrome. Just because it's new and shiny doesn't mean it's always going to be applicable. So I'm thinking here things like virtual reality, but bear that in mind. Think about augmented reality. So L&D, not redundant, but repositioned, re-energized, reskilled, repurposed. Yes, we have a future. We have a future to support the ongoing businesses. And just to close on my situation, I've gone from 0 to 5K, taken up running. I'm now running 2 or 3 times a week. So there you go. My heart's still pumping. So is L&D's. Let's hit the track. Thank you.